Alright, response video to Pyro. This video's been interrupted twice. Anyway, yeah, long time no speak.
Oh, hello, Gary. So you are making videos. Yeah. Well, the thing about feeling good and right and wrong is that, this is the difference. You say that we're just apes no matter what, and I say we're just apes no matter what. But
Yeah, well, that's not what I say anyway. I mean, really, I don't say we're just apes. I say there's an ape inside of us, that there's an animal, nature, and that we have a brain now, we have intelligence that's been evolved over thousands of years of hard work. We've acquired knowledge. So now we understand things better. Now we're able to do something unlike a human 100,000 years ago who had an intelligence, who had the same brain, he had the same feelings basically. His conditioning was a little different, but his brain was just as capable as ours. We're informed, and so now when we look at something, we can see so much more detail. We can understand the pieces that are in the puzzle. We can understand. We can do much more complex math, if you want to call it that, regarding the interactions between things. And so we can abstractly look at the human race as a game board, and now we can understand the players and how they're interacting, and we can make judgments about efficiency, and we can say things like, well, slavery was terribly inefficient. That was pretty ugly, stupid, and moronic. And we can do the same thing about the Egyptians and their stupid culture, and we can see the successes and the failures and what works and what doesn't work, and understand the dynamics of the system, and still have values in how we make a judgment. But we're not personally in the game. We're not in the model we're making or we're examining. So we can do something completely detached from our animal. Our animal no longer has to get a banana. It no longer has to feed off of it.
you say that means we can't act like apes. We have to have objective reasoning over here. Because we are just beasts, so we have to be something else. But I say...
Yeah, well, you say that, we're going to insult our intelligence by using it like a hammer. I've made it pretty clear. Argue with this point. I mean, there's two things you can do with your intelligence. You can let your ape scheme with it selfishly, or you can let your intelligence do the modeling objectively and fairly. Be fair to all the little organisms. Don't make you more important. Don't make your family more important. Don't make take all your subjective, selfish crap out of the equation, and let that intelligence define what the rational course is, what the reasonable action is. So it's no longer about just you. You're no longer the center of the universe. No, you're more accurately understood as one little piece of the universe. The sun no longer revolves around you. The sun is now fixed, and you understand that you're just another planet.
You're just beasts, so that's all we're going to be, beasts. So how do we get an idea of good and bad? It has to come over from these beastly parts, because we don't have...
It doesn't come from the beastly parts. It comes from like 10,000 years of developing an understanding, being able to saying, where are we? What are we? How does this game of life work? This planet Earth thing, this universe thing. How does it all work? Where do we come from? Where do our ideas come from? And we start to figure it all out. We start to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and we get an idea of it. But the idea of it doesn't. We don't get to manufacture the truth and put whatever pieces we want to into that, because we're doing science. We're doing something intelligent. Intelligence, again, you either use it as a tool to scheme with, to figure out what's your angle, or you can use it as a tool to understand, to find the truth, to answer the question honestly and completely. And truthfully, not through the colors of your selfish subjective interest.
Have access to non-beastly parts. If we did, then your whole philosophy would make no sense, right? Because we're stuck with our animal nature. All we can do is chase the cheese. So all good and bad can be, or some sort of expression. Perhaps refined, perhaps just...
Oh, come on. You're just ignoring it. I mean, where have I ever said feelings and thoughts are the same thing? They're not the same thing. Lots of animals feel. Only a few animals get to do this thinking thing, and especially the abstract thinking thing, where you actually model the universe. You don't just model your piece of it, what you get to touch and feel. You go beyond it. You don't see just the trees. You see the forest. Okay? You put in the pieces your senses can't access. Your limited subjective personal senses can't access. But your intelligence, the knowledge of other people going into the forest and finding out what's in there, that knowledge gives you the capacity to see beyond your personal senses.
Justifiable, perhaps good and lovely and wonderful, but it still has to come from feelings. An idea of good and bad is going to have to come from some sort of thing, whether it makes you feel.
An idea of good and bad is still going to have to come from some sort of thing. Yeah, an understanding. I mean, why does it have to come from a feeling? It doesn't. We can understand that we're feeling sentient organisms. Like I say, if the game only had cats in it, and I had no interest in the game, I didn't even have an affection for cats, and I was just looking at the game, and I was just going to make evaluations about how efficient the game was. By your description, somehow my brain would be incapable of that? Of course it wouldn't be. It's just simple engineering, and I can do the same thing, and I can see myself, I can put myself in the proper place in the universe, where I'm not the sun, okay, I'm in the right place, and now I can run the model in my head and make evaluations.
And you might want to think, oh, feelings of happy and sad, those are the least important of feelings. But it's going to come down to feelings of like, I feel like I'm starving to death. Those are all feelings. So it's going to...
I feel like I'm starving to death. Well, if you just feel it and you aren't actually starving, that would be a pretty stupid feeling. But yeah, like the point is, we know deprivation is a bad, and that satisfaction is a good. And there's this simple equation of that you have the need here, and you have the world it has to extract the need from. And the world it has to extract the need from has things that need in it. And you can't take too much from them. If you're feeding if need out of somebody and creating need in somebody else, then we're not winning. That's a zero-sum game. That's not, there's no profit in it. The game is then declared broken, potentially horribly inefficient.
Come down to feelings about survival. Good and bad are going to be...
Yeah, well, look, survival is as a concept, or survival as a person being afraid to die because they're the sun and they don't want the sun to go out because they think the universe will fall into a zillion pieces without them. They think they're a critical cog in the perceptual universe. The universe won't know what a feeling is. It won't know what beauty is unless this person exists. That kind of egomaniacal, crazy, fucktarded nonsense. Yeah, no, we know what it is. We know what our psychology is. It's another part of it. We know what our psychology is. We have studied our psychology. We know how people turn out when this happens to them or that happens to them, what kind of obsessions they get, what kind of addictions they acquire. And that's psychology, and we can dissect it with our intelligence. And again, the argument is should our intelligence be dissecting our psychology, or should our intelligence just be a weapon of our psychology?
About survival, and it can get confused. It could be about the survival of the group or something. But
well, again, even the notion that survival is the value is disputable. What's the real value? Is it quantity or is it quality? Which one should be the which one does intelligence say has more merit, more value, quality or quantity? Isn't that what the argument is?
It's going to come down to some idea of yours of survival, your judgments about what's a good kind of survival, what's healthy, what's not. And the only thing you can really expect in common is some amount of, we all want to survive, so we're going to want to food and things like this.
Well, again, you're saying we want to survive, and I say that's bullshit. Animals don't want to survive. And our psychology is running on the same thing. We're addicted. Okay? It's not a matter, we're not addicted to survival, some kind of notion of survival. We're addicted in the sense that we're addicted to the things that create survival, and we're addicted to things where survival is necessary to acquire them. I mean, I'm addicted to the concept, at least in theory, the idea of love making. Okay, so and I know, well, I'm not getting any now, and maybe I can get some tomorrow, though. So in my head, I know, well, I have to be here tomorrow to be able to make love tomorrow. So what I desire, what I want, will take place tomorrow. So then, yes, incidentally, I must desire survival to acquire tomorrow, where I can access what it is that I really want. And it's about what we really want. What are we really chasing?